Hi there. This is Solution Wolf, and this is Scott. And today I want to talk to you about Common Sense, written by Thomas Paine. Now, a lot of people will look at this book and they think they may know the history of Thomas Paine, what he meant to this country, but I believe that a lot is lost. And as we kind of look at this book, a lot of people will think of this passage. These are the times that have tried men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from service of his country, but he that stands it now deserves the thanks of man and woman. But actually, that came from another pamphlet called The Crisis. What we have in Common Sense here is his first attempt to rouse the public to break away with their ties with the British crown. He was one of the first people to call for, a revolution. Now, understand that fighting had already begun. And this book, which was actually a pamphlet, came out in January 10th of of 1776. January 10th, 1776. So, a good 7 months, 6 months, well, yeah, 6 months before we would have the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And Thomas Paine comes on the scene. Now, this guy had some very radical ideas, some very liberal ideas, but what he did was he stirred the emotion. He was born in England. He didn't like England, and he came over to America. He saw that he did not like the monarchy, and part of what he wrote there was, so listen to what he had to say. O ye that love mankind, ye that dare to oppose not only tyranny but the tyrant, stand forth. So he's calling people to stand up against tyranny. Every spot of the old world is overrun with oppression. Freedom has been haunted around the globe. Freedom has been taken out. It says Asia, Africa have long been expelled from her. Europe regards her like a stranger, and England has given her a warning to depart. And that is, again, freedom. Oh, receive the fugitive and prepare in time an asylum for mankind. So, what he's calling for is the oppression of Africa, Asia, Europe, the oppression of the monarchies, the rulers that are there. He saw this as a time and place where this was a country obviously separated by an ocean, but also separated by a cultural mix that you didn't have to be born into society to be able to achieve. He certainly was not born into anything. He came from a very lowly background. The tragedy of Thomas Paine is that we see him do tremendous service, but he gets very enamored with the likes of understanding the complexity of what happens after you declare your independence and you have to run your own self. And again, he had a real issue with the struggle between authority and democracy. Common sense says, I don't want any authority because authority takes me away from all the stuff that I want to do. Democracy is basically mob rule, and the majority rules at any time. The problem with democracy is, in its truest form, is that on any given day there's no reliability and there's uh, no consistent congruency to keep the normal pace of stuff. So you can't depend on law and order to maintain, because in any moment the mob may change its mind. And so there has to be a governing body, and Thomas Paine did not see that. But I will tell you, in the time when we really needed it most, this guy came to the forefront and wrote this book. Now, again, giving this book the review, it's a great book to read because he really does give us some I'm sorry, thought provoking ideas about what is tyranny, what is tyranny in our own government right now. We are also under the face of a crisis. We have a two-party political system which seem to operate now as one single party. And I would be interesting to see what Thomas Paine would think about the way that our government is now. A government that we all know that we can't rely on, that we don't trust, that will not tell us the truth on very rare occasions. And I speak, I think, for generally a lot of Americans that, we have lost faith that our government does very many things in our best interest. The government usually does things in their own best interest and serve those that are in power, which is is pretty normal for every society that's ever walked the face of the earth. Those that come here tend to want to stay in power at whatever cost there is. So why would you want to read this book when you're becoming an entrepreneur? Well, because sometimes you have to think about what kind of causes you want to stand up to, what kind of person you want to be. And in the case of this, it's kind of interesting to kind of get an idea of somebody who kind of spent he was one of those that said, you know what, I have a belief system, I'm going to stand up to it. And it was popular for a while. And then as he went one way with his belief, society went another way. He was kind of shunned. At the end of the day, Thomas Paine was, I think he asked the Quakers for a burial site. They rejected him. They said, no, we're not going to let you. And at the end of the day, at his burial service, it was only a handful of people that were there. They put him in, and a few years later, there was one of his most hated critics came and took his bones back to England. Apparently, this guy, I can't remember his name, was enamored and thought that Paine was actually a service and deserved a royal, royal placement, with a headstone and that. But apparently his bones were lost. Some say it was lost at sea. Some say it was put in a storage place. Some say that they have a few bones of here and here. But the tragic tale of it is that he was basically kind of shunned at the end of his career. He was put in prison for a while, and he felt dejected that nobody came to rescue him. He felt like the founding fathers, who he firmly believed that he helped the American cause, and helped them to become the independent United States that it was. And in fact, he did do that. You've got to credit the man for what he did. He had some very good works about life, but Common Sense is one of those that you read it. He has a mix of Bible quotes in there. He talks about the Bible a lot, and he takes some antidotes from the Bible and the history of the Bible to mix in with what he figures is the relevant facts of this. So when you read, and I hope that people do, because it's a great book to have in your memoirs. It doesn't take that long to read it, and it gives you a little bit of insight about some of the feelings of our founding fathers and what that was like. And as an entrepreneur, this is just kind of a knowledge base to maybe um, help you form your own system, your own unique set of values and traits. And I just hope that this view has been a service to you. And so again, if you like what you've heard, please hit the subscribe button. And I hope to see you soon on the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye.